everybody, my name is Melanie and this is Survive Better Together. So my husband and I started this channel so many years ago, and it was really designed at the time to inform our children as they grew up about all different things, because prepping is so important to us and it was a lifestyle. We didn't just do it sometimes. We were always working on things that we could do to prepare in case of an emergency or a natural disaster or something catastrophic happening. Over the years, we've met some really awesome people, but we've never really had a big channel. And I have not been putting a lot of posts out lately, mostly because we are no longer monetized. That's been taken away from us. And most of our subscribers, including our own family, has said, hey, you keep disappearing from us, and so if people don't know we're out there, they're not going to even see our videos. And if you go back, we were going from anywhere between 6,000 and 14,000 views, which isn't a whole lot, but some of our videos now only have 6 views, so it's a dramatic shift, and I'm not really sure how to fix that. So I don't want to bore you with all that stuff. It's just something we're working on, and in the meantime, if you feel so inclined, please share it just so we can get it out there, because it's really a lot of work that goes into everything we do, and I hate to do it if nobody's going to see it. It just kind of feels like it's a waste of time, because we also have survivebettertogether.com where we do have emergency gear. So with that being said, today I am talking about EMP. Back, I want to say it was like in the 1800s, there was actually a solar flare that came in and took out what there was at the time, which really wasn't a whole lot, but there was telephone wires where people had the little operator and they tucked in. And so for what they had at the time, it took it out. Now, a solar flare is one way that we could potentially have something happen, but really right now, that's not what we're talking about at all. And if you've even watched the news remotely, certain news channels, I should say, you'll know that it's something that's very adamantly talked about in literally every single country but ours. And I'm talking about the United States. I know I do have a few people that watch from other countries. So most countries are really getting their citizens to prepare, like stock up on stuff, get your food and water put away, get all this stuff together now while you have the chance to do it. Once mass panic sets in, that's not going to be something that's really going to be feasible at all. And honestly, gosh, like it would be so hard for everybody in the world to try to stock up at once when something goes down. Now, I'm gonna say that we don't really know when this could happen, or even if it's going to happen, but the probability of it happening have really gone up. Now, I think a lot of you may have heard we have kind of like the Armageddon clock, and we have definitely gotten closer on that. We have a lot going on with multiple different countries. A lot of tension is in the air. Unfortunately for us, our person that's supposed to be in charge likes to give all of our funding that should be going into our military and making our borders stronger and protecting our own country. He likes to give it away. I have nothing against the people of Ukraine at all, but you should take care of yourself first. And just like I encourage anybody that's watching this video, you should take care of your family first. Once you have your immediate family or those that you know you're preparing for covered, then you can start working on like neighbors and community and stuff like that. But you need to worry about yourself first. It's kind of like, I like to give this as an example. It's like you're on an airplane and the stewardess, when they're doing their walkthroughs that nobody pays attention to, and they're telling you in the event of an emergency and the little airbags deploy, put it on yourself first before assisting other people. And that's the reason why, is because it's more controlled. There's less panic if you know the steps you need to take now. If you get everything under control in your own home for what you're going to do, you're not going to have to worry about it as much as all of a sudden you don't have yourself, and then you're worrying about, you know, a lady you help out down the street, or, you know, somebody at your church. It's better just to get yourself prepared and then start working on any other family or neighbors or communities, churches, whatnot that you would like to help out. Now, if you're new to prepping, this might be something a little more difficult, because there's still people that I have recently spoken with that still have not started anything at all, and that's really a travesty because they have so much to catch up on. So, if we get hit by an EMP, if it was something like where the balloons were, yes, it could still do damage to a localized area, but it's not up high enough in the atmosphere to make a blanket effect. Now, there's 3 stages when you're talking about an EMP. The first stage, and all of these are really, really quick. It's nothing that's going to be, you know, over 10 minutes or anything like that. They're very, very fast moving situation. So phase 1 is really going to knock everything down rapidly, and then the phases are, you almost can't even keep up with how they're portraying. But what you need to know is really not what the phases are, but you need to know the warning signs. So a lot of times, I don't know about everybody else's area, but I know in our area we lose power all the time. But it's what else is going on. So if you are out and about, let's say you're at work, for example, and an EMP hits, the one thing you're going to notice immediately is all vehicles are just going to stop where they are. Right then and there, all vehicles are going to stop. The power, if you're at work inside the building, will go down. If you can see out of your building, or office, or wherever you're at, you're going to notice too that everywhere else is down. It's just going to go almost dark instantly. No street lights, no stoplights, no music playing, nothing. Another thing you'll instantly notice is the phones will not work, both landlines and cell phones. So those will be completely down. So the communication will be down. You also notice that you're going to see that nothing's coming back up. Now, if you have a phone, normally if the power's out, I think most power companies actually allow you to look on and see like coverage. I know for us out here, at least on the whole Pacific coast, I think they all say something to the effect of power outage spotted in your area. So I'm assuming it's like that everywhere, but if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But most places will give you that. So if you're not able to get that announcement, because it's more than just a power outage, your phone will literally not be working. All the electronics will be fried due to this. So you know, computers aren't going to be working. Obviously, we've already talked about the phones. Your vehicles will not be working. Those will be completely fried unless you have an older vehicle that has literally no electronics in it. Now, I've had people come to me, yeah, my car is like 10 years old. When I say no electronics, I literally mean no electronics. We're talking very old vehicle, very old. Let's go pre-1980, probably pre-1976 if I had to be honest with you. And even then, it just really is going to depend on the make and model of it. Some of them had different chips coming in the 80s, and so it's really just going to depend on the particular vehicle. Grocery stores, banks will be down. Now, I will say one thing about grocery stores. Here's a little tidbit for you. I hope you have cash on hand. Repeat, I hope you have cash on hand. When this happens, you will not be able to go to an ATM. You will not be able to go to your bank. Even if they haven't locked their doors yet, they are not going to give you money without a computer working. It doesn't even matter if it's a small town bank or a big city bank. It's not going to happen. The ATMs will not be working. No cash advance place will be working. Now, if you have been pulling out cash, a little bit here and a little bit there and setting aside, good for you. Or if you take out a large amount, if you have direct deposit, leave in what you need to for your bills, but pull out the rest. If you've been putting money away in silver, which is something I highly recommend, I don't recommend, you can put gold. I just really recommend silver because you can have it in different denominations. You can even buy the little tiny pieces that can buy you some groceries. Anyway, getting so off topic here. But if you have a little bit of cash, you can go to the grocery stores. They will most likely be accepting cash because for them, power outages happen all the time. I used to work at a grocery store for a very long time. I was a manager. I was very familiar with the fact that the power goes out and they might not be able to do a whole lot, but they've got calculators and they can ring stuff up, and they're certainly going to take your cash. Not to mention the fact that they have all the cold stuff that they always have to be protective of right away. So if they can get rid of anything, that's an added bonus, because at this time they're still going to be thinking that the power is coming back on, which we know at this point it's not. So if you're keeping your eyes around to all the things we've talked about and you're noticing all of it happening, the street lights aren't working, no vehicles are working, no lights are on anywhere, then it's a pretty solid bet we've been hit by an EMP. So getting to the grocery store right away, obviously you're going to need something to put it in. You're going to need to be able to get home. You're going to be hoofing it. Unless you're one of those people that is fortunate enough to ride a bike to work in the snow uphill backwards. I mean, that's kind of where we're at with it. So I do recommend that everybody has a get home bag and a bug out bag for that matter, because you may very well need to bug out of your location, especially if you're living in a big city. It does not take very much time at all for one person to say something to another person and they say something to another person, and next thing you know, it's going around very, very quick and chaos will set in. You need to have things prepared now. I do recommend, honestly, if you have small children and they are in school, if this happens, get to your kids first. There is nobody going to be able to drive them home. There's nobody going to be able to protect them because eventually the people at school are going to need to leave too. You need to get to your kiddos first before anything else. That's just a must. And hopefully, well, if you've seen my videos, you know how I feel about public schools. Anywho, so there's certain things that you need to have in place, and it only works if you communicate this to your immediate family that you live with. And then you kind of work outside from there on what's going to happen, what's in place, what should we do if. And I know sometimes it's a hard conversation. I have very, very strong feelings about this, and I have plans in place for my immediate home. But I honestly have a very hard time getting one of my children to listen to me about it. I feel like we need to have a plan in place, and they don't want to discuss it. I don't know if they just want to pretend like it can't happen, or it scares them, or I'm really not sure. So I'm just going to keep working at it and praying that we get it resolved, at least for my peace of mind, even if nothing ever happens. And so if you're going through something like that, I really want to encourage you to do the same. It is something that really, 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 really needs to be talked about. So get yourself in place, get a plan in place. Heaven forbid something ever happens with that. You've got the whole Russia situation, you've got China, you've got them possibly conspiring together, you've got Iran. There's so many variables right now. Even North Korea has been setting off test ones, I think 3 or 4 now. So we just don't know what's going to happen from day to day. And honestly, I just want to encourage you to have a plan, get prepared now, because once it's happened, there is no other way. And for all of those people that think they're going to go to others' homes and take what they have, they're going to find a really hard lesson. That's about all I can say on that. So I didn't want to kind of ramble so much, but I seem to just do that naturally. But get yourself situated now. I do have a video that I plan on doing here hopefully very soon, and it's another thing that you can do to kind of help protect you and your family in the event of an EMP. Now keep in mind, those are nuclear. If you do not have good, adequate shelter, you can also be putting yourself in extreme harm's way. And I'm going to put a link down below. I know it's really hard to get iodine tablets, but guess what? There's a liquid format. And I do have a recipe that you can use, and it will tell you how much you can take. I got this, I think Canadian Prepper, I think it was, had somebody on their channel, Dr. Gosh, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank, but he had somebody on his channel, and they gave, it was a doctor, and he gave a very specific instructions on how much you would need to take of a liquid in the event that it happened and there was no pills around. You want to take this iodine because you don't want thyroid cancer, which will and can be caused by a nuclear blast. And if you are taking it, that's going to prevent it. So in a couple years down the road, you're not dying a slow, miserable death from it, and neither are your children. So I have I'll put the link to get the liquid formula, and then I'll also put the recipe or how much you should be taking. I am not a doctor. I got this from a doctor. I'm going to specify that now. But I will put that down in the description. And I'll also put it on our website. I'll put it in the forum tab so that you have a little bit to go off of. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching today. I'm sorry about the ramble session. Please, if you feel so inclined, share this video. I do want to kind of get people aware that we are still here, even though we seem to keep being cut off from everybody else. I'm not sure what's happening, and it's really disheartening when we really honestly care about you. You know, we care about our kids, and that's how we started this. And we figured if it's so important that we want our kids to know this information, why wouldn't we share it with other people? So that is literally why we used to have a different name, and we changed it to this because we figured we could all survive better together if we just shared this information. Anyway, have a very safe rest of your day. Take care, and thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.